ABBA, their new album Super Trooper.
We write songs that we would like to hear.
If other people enjoy it too, that's the perfect situation.
The Winner Takes It All is my favorite song.
The winner takes it all.
All four of us are very proud of that song.
ABBA, their new album Super Trooper, out now and in record shops everywhere. Get it today.
This is ABBA, Sweden's pop music quartet of the 20th century, as Atlantic Records, a recording vocal group, with two wives, Frida Lyngstad and Agneta Faltskog, and two husbands, Benny Andersson and Björn Ulvaeus. Today we are going to talk about the making of the album cover of their seventh album, Super Trooper, filmed on October 3, 1980, somewhere in the crowd there's you. On location with ABBA.
Trooper, things are gonna blind me, but I won't feel blue, like I always do, 'cause somewhere in the crowd there's you.
Yes, that was me singing backup at the late age of 22 in the studio with some friends of mine behind American pop singer Debbie Sims on her powerful disco rendition of the ABBA tune entitled Super Trooper. When we sang backup in a family-oriented gospel pop soul style on the highly sophisticated disco version of the ABBA tune with fire, well done in an American style. Seriously, while we sang backup only on the chorus and other serious background vocal parts too, I couldn't sing the Super Trooper refrain that ruined the chorus. Because you know why? To me, it sounds more than just silly. So it was best for me to leave it out. In addition to that, American pop singer Debbie Sims couldn't sing the ABBA tune called Super Trooper with delicate, weak-sounding Swedish accents, because to her, they sounded frail and feeble. So instead, it would be best for her to sing it the American way, with stronger American accents that she would be more comfortable with. I couldn't sing the ABBA tune entitled Super Trooper with a weak-sounding Swedish accent either, because it loses a lot of proper pronunciation. So instead I would feel comfortable singing it with an American accent. George, can you please do me a favor and tell me the story behind ABBA's original and their album cover made from 1980, since 2 decades ago?
Erik, du skulle ha en röd fluga. Ja. Men den där är inte bra. Har du ingen rosett?
This took place in Stockholm, Sweden. Rune Soderqvist, the album cover designer, made a decision to use the spotlight theme and photograph the Swedish pop group, ABBA, surrounded by circus performers, at Piccadilly Circus, London. But instead, ABBA invited the members of 2 local circuses to Europa Film Studios, Stockholm, to take the photograph there. ABBA asked their several friends to take part, and the following also appear on the cover. Gorel Hanser, vice president of Polar Music. Burke Bergqvist, another Polar Music employee. Thomas Ledin. And Anders Andersson, the son of ABBA's manager, Stig Andersson. After radio personality Steve Dahl crushed up all the disco records for no reason, that the disc jockeys once played at the discotheque, ABBA grew weaker, because they wanted to record a lot of weak and sluggish Swedish, European synth-pop music to their 1980 album, Super Trooper, which is a year after the orchestrated disco-flavored pop hit Come to Me, by two Canadian pop singers France Jolie and Tony Green. It is 4 years after two girl group-sounding disco, soul albums, A Love Trilogy and 4 Seasons of Love by the First Lady of Love as the late Queen of Disco, Ms. Donna Summer, and also 2 years after the disco-flavored pop album, Hot Shot by the late Queen of Pop and Disco, Ms. Karen Young.
You know, George, when I was 6 years old, back in 1981, I heard my father, Lee Maitland, play that song Super Trooper by the Swedish pop quartet ABBA, taken from the 7th album of the same name, on an LP on the old Victrola. I noticed that there were lots of issues going on, and my human brain said, I can't dance to their 1980 original because it has no American disco flavor.
On their 7th album, Super Trooper, there was no pulsating sound of the disco bass drum playing, which was used in disco music. Percussionists Sheila Escovedo, Lenny Castro, Paulino da Costa, Jimmy Mallon, Daryl Berge and Miss Bobby Jean Hall were uninvited to play percussion on ABBA's 7th album from 1980. There was no syncopated old-fashioned disco rhythm. No Candido-sounding Latin disco percussive beats from 1979 that were used from the Salsoul record label. There were no cowbells playing. Disco centrums were stripped. Tambourines were stripped. No claves. No cymbals. Lengthy disco drum and percussion breaks would take a pass. Bongo drums were stripped. Conga drums were stripped. Disco orchestras were stripped. No guiro. No orchestral harp. No disco strings. No disco brass. Cabasa was stripped. No maracas playing. No disco hand claps. Neither shakers nor agigo bells nor egg shakers nor wood blocks played on their album.
Yes, that's right. And that means they left their original from 1980 unmodified, without any punchiness. Plus, the strong and powerful pulsating sound of the disco bass drum dropped due to the disco backlash, since their original recording was left tarnished when they had nothing left to polish up. Oh dear Lord, I feel sorry for that Swedish pop quartet ABBA, because they never wanted to be American sophisticated disco. Not even on their unmodified 1980 original Super Trooper. All they had was bad taste and bad color.
Members Frida Lingstad, Agneta Faltskog, Benny Andersson and Bjorn Ulvaeus couldn't fly to Canada, UK or America to ask those multiracial backup singers, both white and black, to sing backup behind that Swedish pop quartet. They never brought backup singer Dolan McDonald to sing backup on their 1980 album, Super Trooper. Polly Cutter was never invited to sing backup. Sisters Julia and Maxine Waters and brothers Luther and Orrin Waters refused to sing backup. Priscilla Baskerville was unable to sing backup on their 1980 album. American pop singer Kim Carnes wasn't invited to sing backup. Neither Robin Clark, Alfonso Thornton, Diane Sumler, Luther Vandross, Ava Cherry, Christine Wiltshire, Leslie Smith nor Crystal Davis planned to sing backup. Cindy and Roy were never asked to sing backup behind ABBA. Two men named Ken Gold and John Joyce and one woman named Cindy Bullens, who used to back up for Elton John both in the studio and concert in 1976, wouldn't sing backup behind this Swedish quartet. Three women who used to be part of the R&B/soul female trio, the Honeycomb, that scored a hit single, Want Ads, named Carolyn Willis, Edna Wright and Shelley Clark, never wanted to provide extra backup vocals behind that Swedish pop group. Neither Kathy Collier nor Donny Gerard nor Carl Graves sang backup behind ABBA. Neither Vanette Glaude nor Vanetta Fields sang backup behind that Swedish quartet. Backup singers Cissy Houston, Hilda Harris, Martha Stewart and Yvonne Lewis didn't want to sing extra backup vocals behind them. So ABBA wanted themselves alone on sing-along vocals all up front without the additional studio background vocals in the studio.
The serious disappointment was they had a problem with that, which no one else could solve. Energy was wasted. I feel bad for their Swedish drummer Per Lindvall, who played on that track too, which is the first one on side 1, because he refused to be American powerhouse disco. He had too much time wasted when it was just too late for him to keep the disco beat alive instead of letting it die. So instead, he'd rather let the beat grow tired and weak. That's how things changed for the worse. And too soon, times had changed unexpectedly. They never wanted to sound like powerhouse kings and queens of the disco, like France, Jolie, and Tony Green from the Prelude years. Not even Donna Summer from the Casablanca years. Instead, they wanted to sing like bland, European, Swedish pop singers with uninteresting voices. That's why it would have needed more work, rather than having it sloppy. So, with help of American disco producers Ed O'Loughlin and Walter Kahn, American singer Debbie Sims, my friends and I had to do it with an American powerhouse disco twist better than ABBA.
I agree with you, Laurie. So here is American pop singer Debbie Sims belting out with Fire on lead in a lower register, with you and your friends singing backup behind her on her disco rendition, Super Trooper.
Super Trooper, things are gonna blind me, but I won't feel blue, like I always do, 'cause somewhere in the crowd there's you. Sick and tired of everything when I called you last night from Glasgow. All I do is eat and sleep and sing, wishing every show was the last show. So imagine I was glad to hear you're coming. Suddenly I feel alright, and it's gonna be so different when I'm on the stage tonight. somewhere in the crowd there's you. Facing 20,000 of your friends, how can anyone be so lonely? Part of a success that never ends. Still I'm thinking about you. There are moments when I think I'm going crazy, but it's gonna be alright. Everything will be so different when I'm on the stage tonight. Tonight the Super Trooper lights are gonna find me shining like the sun, smiling, having fun, feeling like a number one. Tonight the Super Trooper beams are gonna blind me, but I won't feel blue like I always do. 'Cause somewhere in the crowd there's you. So I'll be there when you arrive. The sight of you will prove to me I'm still alive. And when you take me in your arms and hold me tight, I know it's gonna mean so much tonight. Tonight the Super Trooper lights are gonna